Hey everyone, welcome to another a special edition actually of Somos Más English. Uh, Again, we're both well. At least I'm still traveling on vacation. Iskra
Hi.
is back home. Hi
Yeah.
Iskra,
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight.
excellent.
We felt it was very important to have this discussion tonight. It's a very important night. It's been a very important day for us. Um, I think it's been a very important day worldwide for us. A lot of movement, a lot of things happening. We knew that this was going to be the beginning of something big, and it definitely has been. And that, last night, when I started hearing, I thank God I had dinner early. I told my girls, let's have a Thanksgiving early tonight. Normally we don't eat about 8 or 9, but last night we decided to have dinner earlier. And by 7 o'clock we were done, and we were washing dishes, and we finished. And I was getting ready to go upstairs, and then all of this started happening, and I was, woo, wow. So I don't know. I know Jose has a lot of information on his end. You had a lot of reports on your end. And for those of you that, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. For those of you that have no clue what we are talking about, we're going to give you a little bit of a summon of what is happening. This is to bring you up to speed on the San Isidro movement. This is the movement of the persons, all of these professionals, artists, and the young people that have been keeping a hunger and thirst strike in a inside a home. They had been there for about 7 days. Last night, the Cuban um, the Cuban government went into the home dressed as in medical um, gowns, actually, and took them by force out of the house. They actually took down the internet in the entire area for 2 hours. They took down Instagram. They took out all connections. A text break brought down everything for an entire 2 hours, so that they could not have any communication with the outside world, so that we were not able to see what they were going to be doing. And they went in by force into this private home and brought them out by force. And this is what was happening yesterday around 7 o'clock last night, right after our Thanksgiving dinner. And I went into tears almost. Jose, how did you take all this news?
So them knowing that we were the many of Cuban Americans in the U.S. were celebrating Thanksgiving and
No
thinking
respect.
that it was they did it exactly at the time between 6 and 8:30 is when they decided to go into this private home. So these people are not breaking any laws, anybody. Like they're in their private home. They're doing a hunger strike, and a few of them are doing also a thirst strike. It was on the seventh day, and they were they pretty much took down, like Isco was saying, Facebook, Instagram, and a lot of internet coverage. Pretty much, they didn't allow. Usually, these people are able to with SIM cards and some technology. They're able to get the word out real quick when something is happening. We couldn't get any of this news after like 8:39 when we were all bombarded with texts and with WhatsApp messages of this going on. These people were in their private home doing their civil, peaceful protest.
Right.
Um, with kids. These people are not, these people are intellectuals. They're artists. There's a couple of scientists, a former professor who has cancer. I mean, these people are like people who honestly have nothing else in to gain but to have their freedom of expression heard, and asking for the freedom of one of their comrades, Denise Solis, who is in prison for no reason. They made up this case on him of supposedly terrorism, and all they can come up with is him taking flowers to a Marti statue. So anyway, to get people backed up, they came in the middle of it was nighttime, because now you all know that at night, falls earlier. They tried to catch everybody by surprise, and they came in. It was all military. There's pictures to prove it, that they all got dressed with doctor suits, and supposedly it was for the well-being of the people there. Because what happened was, the day before, a Cuban journalist living in Mexico was able to come in to the home, and via airport, because Cuba now is open to travel for some folks, and he was able to get in, and supposedly he violated the PCR, which is pretty much a COVID-19 test. There's, thank God, evidence that the gentleman took a test before he left to Cuba that tested negative. And not just that, when they took these people by force, after being for days in a hunger strike, they pushed them around. You can see the images, that we have images of them pushing them around, throwing them into the back of police wagons, and then taking them to a police station, where then they started to send them back one by one to their private homes, except the leader, who was the one in worst condition because he was in a thirst and hunger strike. And then also another lady, Anabis, sorry for the name, but she when she got back home, they put police, about 2-3 police units in front of each person's home to make sure that they would not get out. And she, not knowing where Carlos Manuel Alcantara, one of the artists, was the leader, one of the leaders of the movement, we haven't heard from him at all. So everybody else got turned back home except this guy, Carlos Manuel Alcantara, the one in worst shape, and we don't know where he's at. We have no idea what his condition is, but we know that
Amarellis was released, but she was then taken back into custody, and we still do not have any signs of her. So both of them are out of sight, and we do not know where they're at as of right now.
Yep, exactly. So I mean, they did this atrocity. They obviously, once we started hearing the news, we started going live with everything, and people inside of Cuba started finally. You hear intellectuals, some artists like Leonie Torres, which is a big singer in Cuba, who lives in Cuba but comes outside the States to sing. Comes outside of Cuba to sing. He pronounced himself, and other figures, and now, thank God, there's a movement of young artists of different types of art, music, theater, all the above, who have done a civil protest in front of the Ministry of Culture, trying to get a word on Alcantara, on the freedom of Solis, and they're asking for the release of them too. And I don't know, Isidro, if you want to talk about where this private home was at, they're not allowing anybody to come in, and they're not. There's people's personal belongings are there, and they obviously have no access to them. They cannot even come close.
So a lot of the activists that were arrested last night, they were sent to their own private homes, but they have not been allowed to go back into the home where they were all in the San Isidro movement. There's actually a home where they would all be together. They have not been allowed to go back in there. From what I understand, this home is now under police surveillance. And all of their belongings are inside this home, and no one is allowed to go in or into this house. And as of early this afternoon, a lot of artists, actually, I'm very surprised of this movement that all these artists have now congregated in front of the cultural arts movement in Havana. And I believe there was another city that they're doing this in. If I'm not mistaken, it might be Santiago, but I know in Havana there's a big movement. And so continuously there are more and more people coming on to this and adding on to this group, and it is getting bigger and bigger. And I am so happy that this is happening, because the more people we can add on, the more impact we can make. And this is why we're doing this tonight, because we felt it was very, very important to, make this in a language, an international language, and have the world understand what is happening. Because I know that a lot of what is going to happen is the Cuban government is going to deviate the actual information. They're going to want to send out a completely different story from the actual truth. And we need to know, we need you to know the truth. We need you to understand what really has happened and how it all happened. We have details, we have telephone conversations, even though they were able to take out the internet. We have telephone conversations from one of the wives while they were being arrested. There is a recorded telephone conversation when they were being arrested with all the details. There is also an additional video that someone took, without, even though they didn't have Facebook, they actually just took a regular video of what happened. So we have a lot of that out tonight. And, they say pictures are worth a million, more than a million words. So I know we have some of that information. Jose, do you have that available to share with our viewers?
I might have it on my phone, but so we have some images. But
I know that Riquet is working in the background, and I'm sure he will have it. Riquet, are you there in the background somewhere? I know he's not going to leave us alone in here.
No, but honestly, just so y'all know, the reason, one of the main reasons we're doing this, there's people who I've spoken to today who haven't seen this happen in 50 years in Cuba. So this is like a big history change. Sorry, Riquet.
Okay, so Riquet just went thumbs up, which means he's going to go ahead and put on some of those videos here. Now, we also have some people that are on the chat, and Lazaro is saying tomorrow we're going to have different manifestations around the world. There is in Madrid at 11 a.m. tomorrow at the Castro Embassy at Puerta del Sol at 1700. And I'm guessing 1700, that's 5 a.m., 5 p.m.? Okay, 5 p.m. tomorrow in Madrid. Okay. We have a lot of other things tomorrow in Canada and United States, in the US, in Prague, in Spain, in Germany, in Uruguay. So there are manifestations all over the world happening tomorrow. So please go out, look for MSI, and those are the initials for Movimiento San Isidro. And if you look for that hashtag Movimiento San Isidro, you will find a lot of information because we're putting this hashtag Todos Somos San Isidro. The hashtags are actually going across on our banners right now. So you can find a lot of information with our hashtag. And we're asking everyone, please tweet everyone you know. Tweet everyone in the United Nations. Tweet everyone in your government. It doesn't matter what part of the world you're living in. Everyone needs to know what's happening in our country today. Because this is not just these 15 people. They are just an example of what happens every day in our country and how our human rights every day are being violated on a daily basis. These 15 people have just had the courage to stand up to our government. That's the only difference. But this happens every single day. We have over 140 political prisoners right now in Cuba that are in just for their only reason they're in prison is because they think different from the government. That is the only issue. Of course, the government, what they do is they sanction them with other things because, again, they want the international world to have a different opinion over our, you know, our political activists. But that doesn't mean that these are people are bad people. They just think different from the current government, and they just want freedom for their country. And so in our eyes, these are the real heroes, and this is why we're here tonight. This is why we're doing this tonight, because we feel it is very, very important that this information gets out to the world. Last night, around 8 o'clock, actually, after I was feeling so miserable, Cubans in Canada, Ernesto, came on, and thank God he did, because I don't think I would have been able to sleep last night if he hadn't. And I was able to go in, and Daniel Ferrer came in, and he explained to us in detail what was going to happen last night. And as Jose, for those of you who don't know who Jose Daniel Ferrer is, he is one of the main principles of UNPACO, which is United
United Cuban Patriots. It's really a political. It's really a opposition group.
An opposition group, right? And he is basically the leader of this opposition group. He has been doing this for 30 years, and he's been in prison many, many, many times. And he explained to us exactly what was going to happen last night. He explained to us that because all eyes were on this movement, they were going to, probably most of the women were going to be out relatively fast, but they were going to be sent to different homes, and they were then going to be guarded throughout, from now going forward. They were not going to be allowed to leave their homes. Their cell phones were going to be taken away from them, so they were going to not have any communication with the world. The men were probably going to be sent back to their homes again last night, which they were. So but by 3 hours after the arrest, within 3 hours, everyone was home, except Adamaris and Manuel. They wanted to go back to the movement building,
and their house.
Because that's where they have their belongings, and that's where they feel that they belong. And because they were not allowed, they were then taken again and arrested once again. And still, we don't know where they are as of today. We've had many people have been looking for them all over, and we don't know. Okay, let me get with Riquet 1 second. Yeah. He is asking me questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, perfect. So so when this happened, first of all, it doesn't make any sense, because the excuse that the dictatorship is using to do this move of taking people in this way of fashion is that there was this COVID. They're using the COVID-19 excuse, saying that this person violated their entrance to the country's protocol. But the funny thing is that instead of this people, they took them all the way to the police station. Then they took them back to their old homes, because they were living at San Isidro, the house in San Isidro Avenue. And what happened now is that they took them back to homes where other families were exposed, supposedly. Plus, the people, you can see in some of the videos that the military force that went in there, some of them didn't even have masks on. So you're telling me that now they're doing this because of COVID? It's all facade. And now they're obviously trying to do a media propaganda to make it seem that these people are spreading terrorism. When all these people are doing is really reading poetry, creating art, and expressing themselves. And in a way of protest, they're doing a hunger strike inside their property, their private home. So that's really what's going on, and it's sparking a movement that we've never seen before.
And another detail, Jose, that Jose Daniel Ferrer actually mentioned to us yesterday that I hadn't even thought about before he mentioned it, was that normally the way the Cuban government works is what happened is not only is this movement actually trapping them from, because they're going against them, and now the entire world is looking at what the government will do. Okay, not only that, but they're also keeping them from continuously getting more additional political prisoners, because normally during this time, especially now that the U.S. is under, we're waiting for the Biden, for a Democratic government to take over. They would want a lot of political prisoners in Cuba, okay, so that they could then show the Democratic Party that they would be able to give them in return for favors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just
Goodwill.
like they
to show goodwill, they'll
exactly, just like they did with the Obama administration. And I had forgotten all about this, and I hadn't even think about this until he mentioned it. And it's very obvious, that they would do something like this, because we know how devious they can all be. And I know Estrella's back there going, "Yep."
I know.
Thank you, Estrella, for joining us. How are you
No,
today?
thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Well, we have the opportunity last night to go on the live of Ernesto on Cubanos Canadienses. And fortunately, he has that idea, because I'm really mad. And I know most of us feel the same.
Yes.
And well, I say when I go in the live that I don't know if you feel the same, but we are not in Cuba. For my part, I live for a long time outside Cuba, and we thinking different. We are free person.
Yes.
And we have another perspective that the people in Cuba doesn't know. They live in fear, most of them.
Right.
And sometimes we feel desperate, because sometimes we forget why we live over there.
Yeah.
And it's true.
We
It's
want
true
to go
because
out and do something. We're used to going out and do something.
yeah,
And it's
it's
frustrating.
totally different. Yeah, and from here we have to thinking get the solidarity with them, but thinking what we have to doing to help them.
Yes.
And the only way is to use the media. Use the media all the time, posting wherever you see about the San Isidro movement. Just put on your media. Last night I became crazy with Twitter tweet that I think is the first time I use too much, because I'm not really fan of that platform, because it's more for younger, and I'm really bad to use that. But I did last night as a crazy. I sent Twitter even to Trudeau here in Canada. All the TV channel in Toronto. Even one of the member of the United Nations, the Australian. I didn't remember her name, but there was the person who defend Ariel Ucchiola on the United Nations, the one who say, "Oh, let them to speak." Well, I sent a tweet to her, even because we need to put the movement and the situation in Cuba on the international opinion, and change the game. The ball is in our side now, and the only way for us to visualize what happened in Cuba is do that. That's the only way. In the past, unfortunately, most of the dissidents or people opposite to the government in Cuba doesn't have that opportunity. Now is the moment for us to do that. That's the only way. Today, here in Toronto, Ernesto, that's the one with the idea, we went to the consulate, the Toronto Cuban consulate in Toronto. We arrived at 3 o'clock. They already closed, because it's Friday. They close around 1 o'clock. But we able to go upstairs and pour a flyer. I don't have with me, because we ran out of that. flyer with the old picture of the San Isidro movement and picture for the prisoner, like Denis Solis, the other three prisoners in most popular in Cuba now. We posting, most of the posts is in English, but we posting all on the front door, and we get down, and in front of the building we put another flyer, because we need the opinion here in Canada. Well, I say Canada because I live here, but wherever you live on the language you speak, Italy, Germany, wherever, use that to people know what happened. Most of the Canadian here thinking that Cuba, oh, it's a beautiful country, a beautiful beach, a beautiful weather, because Canadians are crazy about the weather. But I say, oh, thank you, but I get wherever Canadian I talk, I get the opportunity to express myself and tell them what's going on in Cuba. And right. They listen what I say. They say, oh, we don't even know that's what's going on in Cuba. They go, well, that's what happened. Cuba is more than a beautiful beach.
Yes.
And
yes.
They understand.
And I'm gonna take that opportunity that you made a pause, and I'm gonna ask everyone that's in our chat, because I can't actually make comments while I'm here on StreamYard. If you can please, a lot of us have, because we have been all day on all of our Facebook media, all of our social media, because we've been pushing out so much information, a lot of us are blocked from sharing. So if you are not blocked on your social media, we are going to ask you to please share right now, so that the world can see what we are talking about tonight. If you can please share this this current stream with whoever you have on your platforms, we will really appreciate it, because a lot of us have been blocked from sharing.
I'll take this opportunity then to show the audience how the movement, the individual members, were basically tricked or fooled into being arrested by supposed doctors checking on their, I don't know, COVID or whatever it is, that whatever excuse they made. I'll pull it up right now. Hold on. This is courtesy of Diario de Cuba, which is a media company that puts out Cuban related news. And I'm going to go ahead and share the video. Oh, wait a moment. Put the audio, which is very annoying. All right, I'll still be translating because it is in Spanish, but you'll be able to see what's going on. And here we go. So 3 supposed doctors presented themselves in the house where the movement, San Isidro movement, is conducting their hunger strike. That was November 26th. And right now, as you can see, they were saying that they had to do COVID-19 tests. Because they're basically saying that the COVID-19 tests that they had before seemed to be problematic, so they wanted to do another test. Now this is Luis Manuel Alcántara telling them to leave the house.
Eso era lo que yo no quería. Eso era lo que yo no quería. Ustedes son médicos, ¿no? Médicos. Mis padres también son médicos,
This is another independent journalist here, Carlos Manuel Alvarez, and basically saying there is no reason why you can't do the test here. I don't trust you. Why do we have to go anywhere? Right, and he's basically saying that he's been isolated, he hasn't broken quarantine, he's basically left information at the previous place where he was so that he could be traced and everything. I would have to be very naive and stupid to believe that you're just here because of COVID-19 test. And I've seen other people have their tests done in their house. They don't have to go anywhere. We're here on, I mean, we're here capacity of the public health. Oh, I'm a doctor. Yeah, you're a military doctor. Just so you guys know, there are doctors in, the state security. There are doctors in, basically in the military. There are doctors that are, spies. So the way that these guys are behaving is clearly, they're clearly.
Well, you can clearly see.
¿Cómo van a interponer una demanda legal si yo le estoy
This is Omar Ruiz Uquiola, Professor Havana. She was obviously kicked out of her job because of her views.
And that's when they were cut off. They were, by then, they're
failed basic test of identifying themselves.
Lo que todo esto, como siempre, es un montaje de la seguridad del Estado para que Carlos Manuel salga de aquí, de esta casa.
And at around 8 p.m., we lost communication with the activists. Like Isidro was saying, they took down the internet in the area. Remember, there's only one telecommunications provider, and it's state-owned, military-owned, Etexa. So right now, one of the activists is saying, "What kind of doctor takes away your phone?" And as you can see here, they're taking them away. And these are all people that they gathered around. Show that the neighbors were not with them, but these are people that came from other neighborhoods and brought there by the state.
Creo que el mismo Luisma había subido a la azotea, al segundo piso, y nos dijo que venía un batallón de gente, de médicos o lo que fuera. En realidad, estuvieron ahí hablando, ¿no? Que abriéramos la puerta, lo hicieron de forma más o menos tranquila. Cuando nos dejamos abrir la puerta, cogieron y la abrieron ellos con violencia. No se dice, el muchacho lo teníamos mirando arriba.
He's saying what happened. They opened the door by force.
Una patada, que pues, en realidad está en muy malas condiciones.
Right. Kick the door. Basically a whole battalion of
médicos,
right, of doctors in quotes.
Personas con una preparación física, me imagino.
But they looked very big and very strong to be doctors.
Disfrazados de médicos.
Basically, he said gorillas disguised as doctors.
Nos llevaron a todos a un carro jaula, no sé cuál será el término técnico.
And they put them all in like a paddy wagon, basically.
Una especie de celda adentro. Y una vez allá adentro, nos llevaron a todos los hombres, a los 9 hombres nos metieron allá adentro. Y una vez allá adentro, había un hecho de violencia relacionado con su esposa.
Usaron toda su fuerza bruta para entrar en un lugar donde estaban personas pacíficas, en huelga de hambre. Lo que fue lo que hicieron. A mi esposa la golpearon. Mi esposa
Oh,
que fue
he's
apoyarme
saying,
también la
Esteban
golpearon
saying that
también.
his wife was actually hit by one
Mi
of these
esposa la
supposed
golpearon.
doctors.
Dieron patada a la puerta de casa de Luis Manuel de Alcántara. Derrumbaron la puerta. Peleando. Esto no quiere decir que termina aquí. Esto no quiere decir. Carlos tenía que los análisis dieron positivos.
Right.
Entraron con ese pretexto a la sede de San Isidro.
The
Nos
pretense
nos
was
llevaron
that
sin nada. Los policías estaban ahí
Carlos
después en
was
la
positive with
guasabita esa, porque
COVID.
nos montaron a todos, nos montaron a todos en una guagua. Nos montaron a todos en una guagua, nos tenían ahí. Nos montaron a todos en una guagua.
Si a mí por poco una patrulla me arrolla.
Es para arriba el fuego. Es para arriba, es libertad para Denis y libertad para todos los presos políticos. Ya no queremos más presos, ya basta un solo preso político. No queremos más presos políticos.
And they still demand the release of Denis Solis, who has been
No los dejes
who's
morir.
still in jail.
En mi pecho se siente esa angustia.
And Esteban, at the end there, he was saying no more, political prisoners. We don't want one more political prisoner in our country. And what this represents, basically, what these 14, or there were already 15 women and men represent. And if you get to know these 15 people, there are many. If you go into their group and into their Facebook, into their social media, you can see they have little pieces of who they are, and you can tell that they represent a little bit of each person in Cuba. They represent our society as in a whole. They represent women, they represent intellectuals, they represent artists, they represent the common person out in the streets. They represent Black, they represent white, they represent different religions, they represent all of our society in one. And they are the real heroes, and that's why we are here tonight, because they don't deserve to have been taken this way abruptly. Someone was trying to come in. I saw someone. Was that someone from Cuba?
I don't know. They were really dark.
That's why I'm thinking they might be from.
Probably.
Yes, I am hoping that it's someone from Cuba because I have put out a lot of messages to them, hoping that, and I told them, even if you don't speak English, we'll do the translation for you.
And it's really, really important to know that what's happening now is that there's young Cubans out in front of the cultural ministry in a protest at night. They started since 10 in the morning, and they're going to remain there. They're asking other Cubans to join and bring water and chargers and any food they can. So this may start a spark to get other people to join. There's figures within the cultural and arts that have never spoken out, who are speaking out now. Very, very few of them, but some. But the city, everybody knows, is come out in the dictatorship's forums, obviously with lies and with their propaganda. But everybody in Cuba knows what's going on now, and there's young Cubans out in the street tonight protesting, and they want answers, and they want people who are imprisoned for no reasons out, and that's their demands, and they want a channel of communication, and obviously the dictatorship is trying to take advantage of that. But these young people are starting something that hasn't been seen in a while, and it's really, really important. And
Jose, to your point, honestly, when I looked at this last night, I said, this Cuban government has no clue what they have done. They just poured water into fire and made this explosive, because now these young people are going to be even more, they're going to get more people around them. They're going to get more people to support them, because this is not an issue of communism or idealism. This is a human right issue. And if you're looking at us tonight, or if you are at any point going to be listening to what we're saying here tonight, and you're anywhere in any part of the world, this is not about Democratic Party, Republican Party, socialism, communism. This is not about any of that. This is about human lives. These are human lives that we need to focus on.
And you know what happened? What they did the last night is what they say in English, a Reaper effect, or a domino effect. And they show that they have fear. Someone writing, some famous writer said, you have power because I feel fear. But when I lose my fear, you lose your power. And that's what happened in Cuba now. People start to loosen the fear, and we need that. And the younger, the youth, has that power, you know. And I thought that the San Isidro is the beginning of something. And even what happened, there are just 14 people. They've been violated. It's clear that in the video that it's a military operation.
Absolutely.
That's impossible to believe that the so-called doctor, they are doctor. The way they stand is a military stand. You can see that. They just come inside to check. It's a military operation to check the point of entrance, exit and entrance, how many people is inside, and control how they can come in and go out. That's a military operation. It's clear. And of course, the people outside say the slogan about the revolution and everything. They are prepared. They brought the people there. They are not the neighborhood.
They're known as, just for any people outside of Cubans, just to understand, Cuba has rapid reforms units, and what rapid response units are is key. They have these leaders within each neighborhood called CDRs or CDRs, and they're just community watch people that they set up there to watch over one another to make sure they continue the control even within each block of neighborhood. And they select all these people who are obviously benefited in some way, shape, or form, with some benefits or some less. Let's say they look the other way if these people are able to really tell each other, and they bring these people together. And whenever there's an act of a dissident or any person with a different view who comes out and tries to do a act of freedom of expression, they bust them. They bring them all to that spot, and they try to. You'll hear phrases like "the streets are off Fidel," "the streets are not for counter-revolutionaries." Just slogans. The funny thing is, though, right now with the young people that are the young artists that are protesting in Havana, they actually have got the rapid response units ready, but it's like 200 people that they've been able to gather up versus 200 that are asking for this rights. So they never really face like an equal level of contra protesters, and they're trying to deal with that. And we'll see what happens. We're probably going to find out tonight. But they're trying to manipulate the situation by giving them they're trying to get them to split up and to go to different places to negotiate. And the group is saying no. If you're the videos are amazing because this group of people organically is making decisions via democratically, saying, are we going to stay or are we going to split up? Who's going to talk for us? So they select who's going to be the spokesperson, who's going to what are we going to negotiate? What are the points? All this is transparent because they're doing it via Facebook Live, YouTube Live. They're connecting with all of us here to get the word out and to get people internationally to know what's going on, and to know that if they get repressed, it will be the dictatorship saying that they don't respect any type of we already know, but it'll be another sign. They respect no sign of human rights and dignity for the people. So I think we're in crucial times, and that's what we're trying to get that message out, is that there's a lot of young people who are being brave and are finally doing what many of us always hoped that happened. And it's a smaller group, but it's spreading.
And my husband told me tonight, Jose, and it's very important that we tell our audience how the government works. So basically, the Cuban government, there's like a ranking, right? So these people up here, they're the ones with the power, and they don't want to lose that power. They just don't want to lose that power. So they're going to tell everybody from below to say, you need to take care of this. I don't care what you do. This needs to be taken care of. So the people below them are going to tell the people below them, and the people below them. By the time it gets to the lowest, those people have no education. They're just going to go in and do what they did last night, without any thought of what the repercussions are going to be. Now, the younger people that are getting together today, I see a completely different picture. I see a picture of people that are coming together. They're being thoughtful. There is a person taking ideas. I'm seeing it. There's somebody that is with a letterhead, and they are taking ideas and jotting ideas down on a piece of paper and asking, what is your name, and who do you represent, and asking for ideas of what their next movement would be to help going forward. And these are very cultured persons. These are very educated people. This is not the government. Which is, so right now, I think, normally the Cuban government has the upper hand in things like this. I see things are being turned around. Not today.
That's right, Iskra. I want to share with the audience some pictures because the artistic community actually came together and went to the Ministry of Culture. That's right. There's a government body that regulates art in Cuba because communism. So they went there to protest. And let me show you guys something. This is very unusual today in Cuba because of so much repression that we've had. Here you go. If you can see that right there, that's in front of the Ministry of Culture building in Havana. And I also want to share with you guys a video because they're still going at it. It's nighttime. So this is from Cyber Cuba, which is another Cuban news outlet, independent. But they post videos, as you can see here, of what happens in Cuba. And reportedly, some of the activists here in front of the Ministry of Culture spoke with some of the officials, but I haven't been able to find out what they said.
So
but
what I know
you can
that
see
they finally,
it's nighttime.
Ricky, I know that they finally were able to get their phone answered. But they asked the dictatorship. I mean those whatever function, whatever they're called. They told them that that they didn't want to talk to all of them. They wanted to talk to only a few of them. And the protesters decided to not talk. That they needed to come and answer questions to the whole group, not just to a few who they selected.
Yeah, they have to be aware that what the regime tried to do is separate them. They separate them. They control that small group and separate for the mass. The power of them is to be together. That's the only way.
And that was another tactic that Jose told us about yesterday. Remember, Estrella?
Yeah, I remember that. And I want to add something that Jose say about the rapid unit. That's not because the people maybe look at us. They don't know the history about Cuba. It's nothing new. That rapid unit exists for more than 30 years. It was what they doing on the 80 when the Mariel happened, and it's doing it again with the Maleconazo in the 1994. That's the way they try to demonstrate the war that the people is on the power, but that's not the truth. They acting as a paramilitary. They wearing a normal clothes, and they try to show that the people, the Cuban people, are with the government, and that's not true. Because there are people are manipulate. Some of them believe, some of them do because some prerogative they have, but some of them really believe that the information they get, that people do the hungry protest because they are delinquent, they do this one and that one, and that's why they are manipulate people. That's what the dictatorship did on Cuba.
Yeah. And now that you bring us back to those era, I want to explain to our audience that
I live that era. I live in.
Me too. I was a 1980. I'm a 1980 girl. I left Cuba when I was 9 years old in 1980 on the Mariel boat raft. I remember it as if it was yesterday. My whole buses and trucks would come in front of our home, and they would throw up vegetables, eggs. They would say all kinds of bad things to our household, to our parents, to everyone that was there, including us as children. We were kids. They would talk bad about us in school. It got to the point where we couldn't go to school anymore. This is how they work. This is how they manipulate people, and they would make people do it. If you work for them, because everybody works for the government. If you work for them, you had to go and do these things.
And they impersonate, because, for example, I was a teenager at that moment, and I saw with my own eyes what happened with my neighbor. My neighbor was a gay guy, lived alone with the mother, and suddenly the neighbor was full of people that we don't know. They bring neighbor for another part of the town that they don't know that guy. No of the neighbor know what happened, and they bring the police, and they force the guy to go in the car with them and force him to leave the country.
Right.
And I saw that. I said, what happened? Because that kind of guy, he was a young guy, like a 22, 23 years old, and he lived with the mother alone. That's it. And he was forced to leave the country. But the people do that kind of act. They don't know the guy. They don't know the family. And I thought for my family, I was a child, and I'm not allowed to go out. I just watching all the things through the window, because everybody's afraid to go out because we don't know what's going on. Yeah. And that's what they do. They move that kind of group, the rapid unit, move to another neighbor and impersonate. They bring down all the emotion and use the people as a tool. That's what they use. Oh, you have to say this one and that one, and say a slogan that they don't even believe. They don't know what they say. And the consequence of that. That's what happened in Cuba.
It's horrific.
When they brought me ladies back last night, it was around 3 a.m, 2 something in the morning, and I was still. I couldn't sleep last night. I was plugged in trying to get any news as possible, and she went live on Facebook, and she was standing in her doorsteps with 2 police units, 2 police cars in front of her, and a man, dressed. Obviously, he was he was a secret police, but or the intelligence police, because he was dressed in like a Cuban, like blue red, just civilian uniform, but he was standing right there, like a soldier, not moving an inch. And she was kind of saying, "What have I tell me, what criminal act have I violated to not leave my home?" And there was no response. He was just standing there, in the teeth of power, trying to really get the world to see what they have done. I mean, they took her with she was entitled to be there. It was a private home. Got taken to the police station, and then took him back to her house, and not allowed to leave, not allowed to really like again, her internet was cut off again. It's just a I mean the what if whatever they tried to do with this little move they pulled out last night, it's really inspiring people to do things. For me to live in the States and seeing sometimes we get sometimes we don't get sometimes we lose a little bit of hope when we don't see people after so many injustices and so many things done to them, coming out and protest. And it's because of the fear, because the system is there meant to oppress any type of dissent. And to see these brave people slowly, with whatever little ounce of bravery they have, come out and put their lives at risk. In the or grandma's the national propaganda machine of the dictatorship, the national paper, national newspaper. It goes out in paper to pretty much any Cuban, and this like the only thing they're able to consume. They were talking about these folks, a bunch of artists, as people who are the worst of society, and it's nothing but the truth. Like I said, there's scientists there, there's former professors. They were just saying that they're using kids for political reasons, and nothing but the truth. The kids that are showing some of the pictures are the kids of the activists. They're like their own kids. Obviously, they got to be with their parents, and they were in a peaceful place where there was nothing going on until the dictatorship decided to kick down some doors, because it's the only thing that's the only thing they could come up with, is kick down some doors in the middle of night with the world, or at least the allies, the Cuban Americans here, doing Thanksgiving on, and they tried to take that moment to submit them and to get them to abandon the cause, and they came out more resilient. And that's why we're here, because it's a new time in Cuba, and I really believe that it's a new time for a lot of young people to finally start making some changes within that regime. And I feel that we're from out here, we're giving them they're asking for us to do is to promote their cause and to be out here and telling you about what they're doing and what's going on, so they don't get killed. Because the more the world knows, that dictatorship lives off the international world system. They get a lot of help from the International Fund, from the UN, from the European nations, from everybody. So they depend on the opinion of the world. So that's what we're here to make sure that the truth is told.
I agree. Yanelis is saying that the cultural
Minister of Culture.
Ministry of Culture is waiting, and that Juan just sent out some sort of comment, and I guess he must have been streaming regarding the defense. The meeting is waiting. The cultural meeting is waiting for the Defense Council. That they're having a meeting to figure out the strategy on how to handle these protests.
Wow.
So we'll find we'll get some answers soon, apparently.
Right. I want to share with the audience what the artists protesting in front of the Ministry of Culture actually stated. They have a statement. Let me share with you guys. One moment, please. Here we go. Declaration of the artists planted outside the Ministry of Culture. We, Cuban artists and intellectuals, repudiate, denounce, and condemn the inability of government institutions in Cuba to dialogue and recognize dissent, activist autonomy, empowerment of minorities, and respect for human and citizen rights. We, in solidarity with our brothers of the San Isidro movement, demand that justice is not exercised at will. Justice cannot protect the government above the right of its citizens. We know that today's Cuba's demands that the government eliminate political hatred and create real and effective systems from are listened an honest dialogue for those who speak out. We cannot continue to live in a country where there is no security for journalists, activists, and dissenters. Enough of arbitrary arrests of causes
Ricky, you're going
fake
in and
cases
out.
created a convenience and whims of power.
I don't hear.
I'm coming in and out.
Yeah, your internet is coming in and out.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I can go ahead. Today we owe ourselves a different Cuba, where everyone has the same opportunity to participate in the direction the country takes. In solidarity with San Isidro movement and the brutality, the inability to dialogue honestly, and propensity for defamation, violence, and discrediting of the Ministry of the Interior and the institutions that are shown to the world as representatives of the legislative interest of Cuban society. We demand the immediate cessation of these attitudes and the beginning of a process that goes through dialogue that lead to the formation of a society in which all Cubans have the freedom to express ourselves and the possibility of participating in the direction of the country.
That's good. That's really good.
Very good. And so, yesterday, remember yesterday that we were talking about, let's we need a leader. We don't need a leader. We need this.
We need an idea, a good idea.
We need
convictions.
We need a coalition of people that came together and put a statement out there and said, these are our demands. This is what the Cuban people need. And this is what they want. That is what
we need a spark. And the spark is this guy's right here. That's the spark. Their activism. Well, I don't have it there, but those are the guys.
Yeah.
So and the girls right there, ladies and men and women fighting together. So that they're doing it until they get an answer, and they will be heard, because we're gonna make sure that they get all the support they need. So.
Yeah, I agree. We can't stop. I think today has been a long day, and tomorrow will be another long day, and a day after tomorrow will be another long day, and we're going to be here for a while. But we need to continue this fight. We need to help them in every way we can, and the way we can do our part on this end is by sharing every single information that comes out. A lot of us need to. That's our part. Our part is to get the word out. Our part is to share everything that goes, that they don't have that. That's the resource they're missing. So that's how we can help. We can help by sharing. Every time they come out, we share. Any information that comes out, we share. Any information that we can translate and do these things here that we're doing tonight, we have to do it. That's our part. And if you can share it and translate it in any other language internationally, please do it. That's our part. That's how we can help.
Yeah, we have to keep in doing that. That's the only way. That's the only way. When Jose is speaking about what they're doing with the rapid unit, I have to repeat that it's nothing new, but the worst part is that they are copying the fascist method. It's almost the same, especially with the youth, with the child, because I remember the first ad on the 80, they took the child from the school. If some of the students go away with the family, they bring the whole class in front of the house to do that ad. And even the parent didn't know that the little child doing that. Yeah. Hitler used to say, give me your child, in 10 years, I change the world. And that's what happened in Cuba. They indoctrinate the younger people. That's a child abuse. That's what happened in Cuba. And the picture they put on the grandma, that a little child with the name of Fidel on the front, come on, that's a child abuse. Please, Cuban people, open the eyes. Your own child being used as a tool for the government, for the dictatorship. That's what they do in Cuba. And some people didn't think it. They say, oh no, they do that in the school. You know, The first educator of your child is the parents, and the school is the second one.
Well, and that's why I'm so afraid of the direction that our country is taken, and I hope that we learn. We hope that we're learning from what's happening around the world, because I remember I was only in primary school I was second grade, in maybe third grade in Cuba. So I'm talking about I was six years old, maybe 7 years old, when they took me away from my parents and put me in this summer school in Tarara. That was indoctrination. We didn't understand it then. We were only children, but that's what they were doing to us. They were doctrinating. They
brainwash.
Brainwash and taking us away from our family, trying to break those family ties. That's how they would start. And then when you would get into middle school, they would put you, I didn't get, thank God, I was able to leave before then. But, I've heard all the stories from people that stayed.
I was there. I was at that kind of school. Yeah.
So,
and even at my young age, I was 14, almost 16, I had to go to the court because one of the teacher, I was in term, one of the teacher tried to be violate. Yeah, no myself, one of my friend, and I was a witness, and I have put on the stand by the attorney because I am the one to witness what happened. And I just 14 years old. Come on, I don't need to suffer that if I am on my own.
I agree. I agree.
The teacher drunk in the middle of the night. We are not safe.
Yeah, so people understand back in the it was happening to a couple of years ago. I think it might still happen in some areas. Most Cubans, after from middle school in between, and sometimes even in elementary, they get sent to this boarding schools in the middle of the country, which is pretty much farmlands, and they pretty much get to go home like every 15 days or 21 days. And it's really like child labor because one of the things they do is you have to go work in the fields after school. And supposedly it's a revolutionary formation, but it's really a place where a lot of abuse happens from teachers to kids, and nobody ever knows about it because parents are not present. It's kids pretty much telling their story, and who's going to believe kids versus adults. I know here in America we talk about the church, and this was that to the 10th power. I mean, a lot of things happened that most is not documented because teachers kind of looked out for each other, and many people within the again, it's a system that controls everything, so the image of the system can never be hurt, right? So yeah, that's what's happening at this boarding school. So first, child labor, but second, a lot of atrocities were happening when it comes down to kids' rights, and that some of it we don't even have a good record of.
Not even that, Jose. There was just there was, they told you that they were going to give you good education, but to be honest, the education they gave us was not the best. Okay,
it's indoctrination, no education.
Indoctrination. They would put us in these boarding places where they were not the best living facilities. The food was not the best food in the world. You had to, it was just, you got what, I remember it was chicharros every day, which is chicharros is split peas every single day. And split peas, or there was one time when it was the other one, the black ones, not black beans,
the bundles.
But they're black.
Lentils.
Oh my God. I have never been able to eat lentils in my life.
Yeah, the taste is like a...
Since I've been in the United States, I never ate lentils. And you can make the best lentils in the world. But I'm so psychologically, it's still there. Like I see lentils and I taste the bad lentils because I could taste the dirt on the lentils from school.
Yeah,
that's how
true.
bad it was. So you know,
right now,
let me
I'm
tell
hearing
you.
that the people that are in front of the Ministry of Culture are being basically again like they did with the San Isidro neighborhood. Yeah, they're blocking them off, right? They're containing the protest in front of the Ministry of Culture.
Okay, so that's what Janelis was talking about. Let's go live and see what's happening right now.
Do it.
Right.
It's awesome, guys.
Here we go.
A Denis Solís, que se le permita al artista Luis Manuel Otero Alcántara regresar a su domicilio. Sí. Sí.
Freedom to the Denis Solís and to let Alcántara come back
El
home.
hostigamiento, la represión, la censura, el descrédito y la difamación por parte de las autoridades y los medios oficiales a la comunidad artística e intelectual cubana y a todo ciudadano que disienta de las políticas del Estado.
Anybody who dissents against the politics of the state and discredits all their efforts.
She's reading the same document that we were.
Reconocimiento y respeto al posicionamiento independiente.
Recognition and respect to the independent movement.
No más violencia policial. No más
more
police
violence.
Sea el amor
No more
y la
political
poesía
repression.
lo que una a
Let
este
it love
pueblo.
and poetry be the unity of the people.
De las que se va a quedar afuera nos sirva para tener un nombre, por si acaso, una persona que se encargue que afuera no jefe, sino que esté más o menos al frente.
Somebody outside to please take charge.
Que después que entremos los 30,
so 30 of us is going to come in. So they were talking about this earlier too. The 30 of them have been chosen to go in as a group, and I guess the rest are going to remain outside.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing that not all of them can go, but 30 is a good group. I mean, 30 is a good group. That's a good group. 30 is a good representation.
I'm not happy with that.
You're not happy with that. Well, I mean, they can't bring all 3,000 people inside.
But why they don't go out to talk to them?
They're using the COVID excuse again. They were so earlier on they were using the COVID excuse again and again. They're just trying to, obviously split them up, but. At the same time, what the only negotiations that the group made, and they did, what I loved about it, they did it democratically, was to then select 30 people. But even when they offered that, is when they finally heard some answers, and they wanted them to even split that group of 30 into just a few, and they want to take some people off the list that they did not like from the group of 30. So now at least the 30 are, going to go in, and we're going to find out what happens.
I think 30 is a good representation, Estrella. I think.
Yeah, but let me tell you, they make a lame excuse about the COVID-19.
Oh, we know.
We know.
They say that they don't allow to all come inside.
But that's happening here in the U.S. too.
Yeah, why the minister doesn't come out in the middle of the street in the park and speak to them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And just for perspective for people who are watching this, what they did before this, probably like an hour before we came live, they brought this two established, very, very well established artists. One of them actually made a very famous movie in Cuba called Fresa y Chocolate, which I think even won an Oscar. I don't know, I could be wrong. But they brought them to kind of be the metal people, like the negotiators. So at first it seemed like they were getting on the side of the protesters, of the activists that we're talking about. but then they're trying to find a diplomatic way to negotiate with them. So we don't know what this is going to be, and we really don't know if they're in their side or not. But they're there, so at least that's better than not.
They are the Trojan horse.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure they are the Trojan horse. Try to get rid of the protest.
Yes.
Yeah, but at least they're negotiating now. Because
and what I like their points are very like a very
negotiation. Last night there was none. There's no conversations. There was just actions on their end, and so and I think 30 people. It is a good representation. I think we need to. We're making some improvement.
I like their list of demands, though. I think it's very. I think anyone can fall behind those. They're asking for a free trial for, a fair trial for Dennis Solis. The welcome back, like they want the return of Alcantara back to his home. They want the less police violence. They want obviously less censorship. They don't to not be censored anymore. They want the repression to stop. I can't remember all the list of demands, but all the demands sounded very, very. They voted about this too, like
basic human rights. These are just basic human rights. There's nothing out of this extraordinarily out of this world. I think that if any other government would look at this list of demands, they would honor them because it's basic human rights.
But it's no government in Cuba. It's a dictatorship.
It's true.
We understand that.
And with the dictatorship, we can't negotiate. We can't negotiate with them. They don't accept that.
I understand that, Estrella, but the difference is that right now, all of the internationally, everyone's watching what this dictatorship is going to be doing.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
And they live off, like, again, all the help from all these countries and the international community and the tourism. So they obviously don't want this image. They created this fake image of Cuba for a long time, and it's all dismantling in front of their eyes. And this is what they're really scared of. They depend on tourism. They depend on the help that comes internationally. They depend on the dollars that we Cubans send back home. They depend on every fund. They cannot sustain themselves on their own. That's just the basic truth. And they know that this is hurting that effort. They know that they're in their last pull of that's sustaining them, and it's kind of dismantling in front of them. So slowly but surely.
I just hope that the group come inside are able to recording a video about what happened, because that's the other point.
They're taking 5 press people with them. 5 out of the 30 are supposed to be press. So one from ADN, another one from Ciber Cuba. I don't know the other 3.
No,
there's supposed to be one international. But
they are allowed to bring the cell phone, because I
don't know.
I don't believe even some of them do a good job. The problem with the media in Cuba is easy control by the power.
Yeah. I agree.
That's what happened with the internet. They lose the power because everybody with the phone became a journalist.
Yeah. Well, Obama didn't know what he was doing, apparently.
Yeah.
But the awesome thing though is that at the beginning at 11 o'clock, they were saying they were not going to see nobody. And that was their answer. And then they couldn't even get a hold of anybody. And then they sent in an assistant. And then they brought in some, like the 2 gentlemen I was talking about. And now then they're going to send the second person in charge, not the minister. And now it's the minister. And now the minister has to talk to the defense. So it's slowly climbing out the ranks. And obviously it's obviously doing something.
There was one guy that said I hadn't come out before because my phone didn't have any recargas. And I had no. Oh, come on! You're the government. You don't. Please.
They ran out of data.
I don't think so.
Recargas. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
The problem people need is I'm glad that the youth did that, because the people doesn't know how much power they have until they stand on their belief, on their idea. I have to stand here, I need to be here, and you have to speak with us. That's the point. You have to show them that you have the power.
But San Isidro did that. San Isidro did that, and because they did that, and because we supported them, and they weren't able to keep them long enough, then everybody say, yeah, now we know that we can do this. San Isidro showed them that they could do this.
You know, maybe for the war, because people doesn't understand the situation in Cuba is they don't live there or they are not Cuban.
Right.
People in Cuba doesn't have a civil a vision of what they doing with their own person or their right to fight with their right. Most of them was born in the dictatorship, and for them, wherever the people on power say, that's you have to obey that. That's the sovereign. That's it. That's what's losing Cuba. People doesn't know what civic is. Well, how to fight for your right.
And to be honest with you, sometimes I think our doctrination is so ingrained in us. My mother-in-law is here visiting with us in Charleston tonight. We went to Miami, Florida, and we brought her with us. And I'm showing her the videos of what's happening in Cuba, and she's like, "Oh, they're all going to go to prison."
You see?
I'm like, how are they going to put all these people in prison?
That's the fear on their vein.
She still has that. She's like, they're all going to be in prison tonight. I said, these are thousands of people. There's not enough prison for all these people.
Plus, they got no excuse. They're artists. They really are the most peaceful people you could find. Like, if they put those people in prison, then I don't know.
This is how ingrained the doctrination is in our blood. We have to. And this is a person that has been here in the United States for 25 years.
Yeah. You know, if they put all of them in prison, the prison wanna be a good place. They wanna paint, do the mural, and make a point, and you know. No, but I don't want that for them and for anyone.
No, of course not. But you are the reason why I'm saying this is because I want people to understand how we have this doctrination, and I include myself, even though I was a child. You know, sometimes it's just there without us even thinking about it. Sometimes this is so ingrained in us. And
I have more than you. I lived 35 years on that indoctrination. And when I opened my eyes, I couldn't look back. No, I'm free. I'm free now.
I'm actually, I'm one of the lucky ones. I left when I was 9. So I am lucky. But, you know, this doctrination, it really goes on for many, many years on end.
But you know, at some point, I feel glad because I noticed people who was born in liberty sometimes take it for granted, you know?
That's right.
Things happen on the country that I can see that they violate some charter of freedom, and they don't know because they couldn't believe that it would happen on the democracy. But we know because we live on that kind of regime.
I agree. I'm sorry, Jose.
There's somebody in the chat saying, named Carlos Macias, saying hi, family from Cuba.
Carlos, are you in Cuba?
And if you are, Carlos,
write
a little message of how things in Havana right now, or wherever you're at in Cuba. Like, what's the feeling? Just a small comment.
If you are in Cuba, we would love to have you in our chat.
From Cuba.
You can come in. We would love to have you in here.
That is awesome if he's from Cuba. Yeah, that's I'm just very happy about what's going on right now. It's very inspiring because for a year now we're waiting for anything like this to happen.
Yeah.
You know, we've been sending information in, doing every effort we can do, and finally there's a group of people doing it, and now we just need others to join. So Carlos, if we can spread the word through you with other people on Facebook, let us know what's up. Anybody tell their family member, you know, just tell them, hey, there's something going on. Even though everybody knows, say if there's any way you can help or anybody you can tell that might be, inspired to go there and just bring water. I mean, they're not going to arrest you to take water and walk around a block. Okay. Like, do it because these people are peaceful. They're not going to arrest all these people. And they're protected by the international eye right now.
Jose, last night, I wish if it was up to me, I would have gotten on a plane and just flew over there because I was I felt so frustrated that I just couldn't do anything. But, there you have to then calm down and say, well, I have to be here because we have a job to do here. They have a job to do over there, and we have a job to do here, and this is what we're doing.
And San Isidro, a spokesperson outside of Cuba, was saying that they were trying to get in contact with Facebook because the Facebook went out on Instagram for 2 hours while this was happening. Yeah. So it is, I think, all the censorship Facebook does and stuff, but really, Facebook, where are you? Where's your, where is your comments on what happened? I mean, they're suppressing your users who are just, artists, dude. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg or anybody. Come on.
It wasn't the entire network. I think it was the entire network because WhatsApp was down too.
Jose Daniel Ferrer was saying that you could use the network using VPN, not with the cell phones, but if you were like in desktop with VPN, you could use the network. But Facebook and Instagram were completely shut down.
Yeah, it was.
So.
Yeah, but I get communication through WhatsApp last night with Cuba.
Okay.
I informed my family and a few friends from Havana. I informed what happened through the WhatsApp. They told me the same. I couldn't get to the Facebook. I couldn't get to the Instagram. They use WhatsApp, and I just communicate on that. But without a video, we just make a text or a voice, and that's it.
Yeah. So. Mark, I mean, I know in Egypt they couldn't do that, so why are you not pushing back in Cuba for them doing that? Come on, bro. What's going on?
That's true.
Well, that's because he wants to do business with the powers, with the other powers. Well. I don't know, Riquette, are we ready to call it a night? I don't know if there's anyone that's going to be coming in here. I think we've given enough information for one night. We'll probably be...
I hope someone from Cuba can be connected and, give you some information.
I hope so. If they can't, we're going to be continuing to do this. I think I'm going to continue to do this as the days pass. I actually opened a page for Somos Más Carolinas because I know that Riquette is on vacation.
You are not in Florida?
No, I'm in South Carolina.
I don't know. I think that you are in Florida. I don't know.
No.
And you, Jose?
I was in Florida. I'm in Florida. Yeah. Jose is in Tampa, right?
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yeah. Jose's in Jacksonville. Riquette is in Georgia.
Oh, Georgia. Yeah.
And I'm in South Carolina.
And I am in Toronto.
There we go. People all over the place. We're everywhere.
Over the world.
Yeah. But,
okay, I want to say good night because I have to put my kid to the bed. They have class tomorrow. Virtual class. and they have a toast night last night because I'm really mad. And, I'm screaming. They say, what happened to you? I explained to them.
I was so grateful that Ernesto got on and I was able to
I get rid of all of that.
Got rid of the frustration.
But
I'm going to hope.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye, Jose. Bye.
Bye. And same thing. Thank you so much for inviting me too.
Thank you. And let us know when is your program and
tomorrow, my next one in English is Tuesday nights. And again, I'll be in the background helping in any way I can. And then Saturday, tomorrow I do one, but in Spanish. And really what we're going to do is give out recargas, which is pretty much recharging people's datas. So if they find something, but with the theme that they have to do something to connect with something going on in San Isidro or something going on with the band. So they have to send a WhatsApp message. You got to do something once they receive their recarga. Is somebody in Cuba, so that's what we're doing.
Idea.
But,
Good
you know,
idea.
yes, anything helps, y'all. Send a Facebook page. I mean, I put a Facebook ad. Iska's over the web, so I'm pretty impressed. It's gonna be hard to keep up, but do that. And anything helps right now. The only way we protect these people who are, protesting right now is by getting their word out. That's all we can do.
I agree.
That's
I
true.
agree, Jose. Anything.
Bye. Take care, all of you. Bye.
Yes, thank you. Everybody that has joined us tonight, thank you for joining us. If you have friends and family that you can please share this with, please do so. We are going to continue to connect throughout the week. I'm going to probably connect throughout the weekend. I know Riquet is on vacation, and I feel horrible for him because he's on the phone. He must be getting
trying to get to the Ministry of Culture at the moment.
Okay.
And basically they need, the cops are blocking them, so they need to open, like just a little space so that the rest of the protesters can get to the Ministry of Culture. And also the San Isidro movement just posted a call on Twitter to every Cuban to go to the corner of their block. Is that what you're saying, Jesus? Yes, a sit out basically. So you go to the corner of your block and you sit out. Okay, and they're calling for a national sit out basically. So that's what's happening right now in the moment. National sit out. Everyone that is listening to this, please spread the news. National sit out. National sit out all over the island of Cuba. Okay, guys. Iskra will be in touch after this.
Yes.
We'll keep cooperating. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Take care, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night, and we will please continue to be on the lookout and continue to share. Thank you.